Hello, Ken Spriggs here, returning with the video. I know it's been a few weeks. I just getting back into the groove after Wonderfest and getting back into a building mojo again. It always kind of happens whenever I get everything ready ahead of time for months before Wonderfest, you know, and you're kind of on a time crunch and rushing, and after it's over, you just want to kind of take a break and relax a bit. I know I did one video with the figure for the charge from Filmy's Girls. But that was a pretty simple thing. It was mostly just painting. So definitely getting back into it. Now this video, I'm going to do a review on a 3D printed file that I got from a person on Facebook. It's really cool, and I will be talking about that and showing it here. I am going to be, I've also started working on my Discovery build, my commission build, and I've done quite a bit on that. And I still have to do a few more things to get a full video, and then I'll be presenting that. So so in the meantime, I wanted to kind of show this short video, and this file just became available recently, and so I wanted to go ahead and I printed it and got a coat of primer on it to kind of show it off, because it's really fantastic and it's quite incredible. So all right, so let me go ahead and tell you about that here. All right, so I first saw this file maybe about a week ago. It's from a person by the name of Chris. I believe his name is pronounced Soterelis. I'll put a link in the description and give you a link to his Facebook page if you're interested in purchasing it. I saw it on a Facebook group that I belong to that's dedicated to 3D file creators who are selling their files, creating their own files and selling them. So he did a fantastic job on this. It is it's a creature called the Whitespike from the movie from Amazon Prime called The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. So spoilers, if you don't want to see what the creature looks like from the movie, you've probably seen it by now if you've seen any previews and that kind of thing. I'm not giving away any necessarily anything you probably haven't been able to see, but I am going to show the figure in detail, so you're going to see what it looks like and, you know, some of the features of it. So if you don't want to do that, then by all means go see the movie first. I highly recommend it. It's a really good movie before you watch this video. But really good figure, well designed by him, and just the detail is just mind-boggling what he's put into it. And when you purchase it from him, you also get files for, and let's say spoilers, a water tower, which is from one of the scenes in it, and some stairwell and some other things to kind of build for a diorama. So I'm not going to be completing this just yet. I'm actually on vacation this upcoming week because my birthday is next Wednesday, the 21st. I will be turning the big 6-0. Oh my goodness. Hate to even say that. Makes me feel so old. But I'm going to be heading back to Pennsylvania to visit my family and celebrate my birthday. So after this video, I'm going to be gone for, you know, like the next week. But then I'm going to be working on this in the future, and I have some ideas on a diorama that I want to do for it. So okay, so just a few things about this this file. I opened it up on Box, which is what I use, the software for my Elegoo Saturn. And I don't know if there's a difference between that and whatever software that Chris is using, but when mine opened up, the parts were all very tiny. So I had to increase all of the parts 500% to get them to be the size that I ended up with. And I ended up with about, I think it's about 4.5 inches long and maybe about 2 inches tall for the figure. So just to kind of give you that idea, you'll have to kind of play with it and see what it works with, depending on what software you're using. So, okay, but let's go ahead and take a look at this fantastic figure. All right, so I printed out all the parts. as I showed in the previous stills. And I started gluing it together. Hold on a second, stay in place. Now, you'll have to figure out your own way to support it and do that. I didn't have too many problems with it. I only had one failure, but I can kind of fix it. You can see this one here. I didn't support it enough, so it's offset. I'll probably just slice that off and re-glue it on. This was my first test. I kind of like the size of it, so I'll get a better idea once it's all together if it's the right size I want to do for the diorama. I'm going to be making more than one of them, of course, for that in the future when I start building it. But the best approach that I found is with all these little fine spikes, be sure to position the part so that they're facing up or it's an angle where they're going to not have to be supported as much. Same with like these parts here. I made sure that these really delicate little, whatever they're called, are sticking up so that they would print better and they would work in that way. But other than that, it worked really, really well. Now, I don't have any instructions, of course, since it's an STL file. So I've kind of figured out, the first thing I'm starting with are the front legs, because they just fit right in there and they mold to the body, and you can see how that little rounded part just fits right into there. The other side is the same way. So once I get those in, I can go ahead and figure out how the other parts fit. These parts go on in front of it, and then these legs, the back legs, go in these little sockets, and then these two are for the spikes, or the spike tentacles. So all right, let me go ahead and get some more parts together, and then I'll show you how this whole thing comes together and looks pretty sweet. All right, so I got both of the front legs on, and then I went ahead and glued on the back legs. So this is a good way to put it together, because the two front legs have specific ways that they match up, as you can see right there. They're contoured just to fit in that section. Now the back legs, not so much. It's a rounded part. One thing I forgot to mention is the only part I hollowed was the main body. And I did so by putting holes in either one of these two side pieces so that it opened up the inside, and actually made a hole straight through it as well. So you don't really have to. It's not really that heavy or big of a figure, obviously, but the legs would have been too hard to hollow out, so I didn't worry about those. But the key then to the back legs is the feet have to have the little claws match up flat onto the ground. So if you start with one and you have the front legs, so I just went ahead and glued it in place so that this was flat on the surface, and then did the same with the second. Now this thing is definitely a creepy monster. It has a lot of different kind of elements of different animals. You would think with 6 legs that it's more spiderish, but it really isn't. It's more like a frog with these back legs, how they're bent out like that, and then they're even kind of warped this way, which is kind of cool. And its front legs. So definitely very creepy. All right, so I got those two done. I went ahead and started printing another one of these tentacles since this one failed, because I realized that this is much longer. It's more like this one, only kind of reversed. It also occurred to me I should have printed one of the other versions. There's 2 versions of this. There's the right and left that have the tip open for the spike to shoot out, and then there's ones that's closed and comes to kind of a point. So I probably should have done one of each. That way I could have made it look that way, but I'll do that in some of the future versions of it. I also thought of a good idea. It has a hole there for where the spike would be. I could just use like one of the pointed sprue supports to stick it in there and make my own little spike. So, okay. So this is pretty well set up. I'm gonna go ahead and get the last 2 parts on here for now, and maybe the spiked arm, and then I'll get the other one going too. All right. All right, so I've glued on what's considered the front arms, these very spindly little arms sticking out at the front, looking really creepy. Now I did notice that you can see on the left one there, that little piece there in the front that's attached on. The right one didn't print right. I didn't realize it until I got it glued on. So this is just my first test. I'm not going to worry about it, but when I print in the future, I'll be sure to support it. So right there in the front, there should be another piece sticking out, just like there is over here. Now, all these parts fit together nicely. I would do it in the order as I said. These go on pretty well as well. They only fit on, once you move them around a bit and you get them up towards the top, they kind of click into a place where you can see they're supposed to fit in. And you want to make sure that the legs on the front, or the arms, or whatever those little spiky things are, aren't touching the back legs, so they're still standing free. Okay, so those two are on. So all that leaves now are the tentacles. So I have another one of these printing, and then I'll get those glued on and then show you the final figure. All right, and there is the finished Whitespike. So I printed the new version of his other tentacle that failed. Got those glued in place. I took a little piece of a tip of the pointed support, and I just glued it in the hole to make a spike out of it. So it looks like he's got some spikes ready to shoot, ready to go out. So really, really cool figure. Let me kind of show you straight on shot. Face only a mother could love. Oh my goodness, what a creepy little thing. So really, really cool. I like the size of it. Other than the one little piece like I showed you that didn't print right, the rest of it looks really, really good with his spikes and all his little pieces. So one other thing I want to do is get a coat of Tamiya fine surface primer on it, just so you'll see the detail a little bit better, and then we'll show you the completed figure. All right, and there is the completed first version of the Whitespike. Really, really awesome figure. Got a coat of Tamiya fine surface primer on it to kind of show the detail. Makes it look homogeneous and brings it out. Give you a close-up of that hideous face. I especially love the face on this and the spikes on the head. Just incredible. Just incredible. And the teeth, look at those teeth. How jagged they are. How vicious. There's even, try to hold that still. You can even see that little bit of sinew on its mouth stretching. That's incredible. At first I thought it was like a fail in the print, but I realized that's the way it's supposed to look, and that's how he designed it. So it's fantastic. The spikes on the bottoms of his legs. Those praying mantis-like looking front legs. Wow. Just how delicate they are. And you can see his teeth a little bit better from this angle too. Incredible. And his claws. Really, really nicely designed. And as I said, you have two different versions of these tentacles. the right and left with the open, the right and left with the closed. Other than that one little failure of the piece that I did, and that was my mistake. The only issue I showed on this, and I've mentioned it to Chris, is that these tentacles, the open ones, are marked. This one's marked as left and this one's marked as right. And obviously, from the creature's perspective, this is right and this is left. Because when I went and printed the second one, I thought I was printing the right one, and then I went and glued on the right one. I thought, oh, did I do it wrong? And I had to wait like 3 hours till it was finished, but it was right. They were just marked wrong. So, and then there's the little spikes that I made out of the little sprue points. Okay, so fantastic. I'm real happy with this size of it. I think this will be perfect to go with the diorama that I want to make, because these things are huge in the film. And so this is about the size of a car. Maybe a car's a little bigger, but these things just come barreling out and knock over military vehicles and things like that. So these things are massive. So, okay, really happy with that. So it'll be a little while before a couple of weeks before I start working on this with the diorama, but I wanted to show this. I highly recommend it. If you enjoy the film and you really like these creatures, by all means, I will include information in the link to Chris's Facebook page. Go ahead and contact him on there, and he would be happy to sell you the files to this figure. And I'll show you some pictures here in a moment. It also includes files for a detailed water tower that you see in one of the scenes, for like a stairwell, some other parts to add to the debris and kind of make a diorama with it. So really amazing files and figure that you can get from him in order to reproduce some scenes from the Tomorrow War. So, all right, incredible. All right, so there are some stills showing the size of the figure that I printed. Like I said, I had to adjust the parts 500% since they were so tiny when I put them into Cheeto Box. Chris said he didn't have that issue. He didn't use Cheeto Box, but I'm not sure, if it was just the software conversion. But the size I ended up with is about 4.5 inches long by about 2 inches high, which is a good size for me. I'm going to use about three of them, and put it on the diorama. So I don't want them to be too large, but I could scale it up to be whatever I wanted it to be. But it also includes, as I said, the water tower file, the stairwell with some steps in it, with some damage on it, some other parts like some bent rods and things like that, which some of them I want to use, probably the stairwell, to make my diorama. So really cool figure for sure. So, okay. So again, I highly recommend this. I'll put a link in the description for the web page for Chris, for the Facebook page for Chris, if you want to check that out. I'll also put a link to the group on Facebook that I saw this on, that the different creators of 3D models put their works on. So, all right, thanks. All right, so really awesome figure. Really happy with how that turned out. Really excited to be working on that here in the next few weeks. Now, my next video, it'll be about at least a week, maybe a little bit longer, probably about a week or two, because like I said, I'll be away on vacation this upcoming week. And then I got a lot done on the Discovery, but I still want to do a little bit more to make a complete video of painting the outside of the ship. So I'll be uploading that here soon. And then I'll also start looking at some ideas on what to do with the Whitespike, and some ideas for the diorama and creating that as well. So, okay. Thank you to all my new subscribers. Stay tuned, and definitely be getting back in the groove here and posting some more regular videos for you. All right, thanks a lot.